All right, it's still the Anambra elections, and the elections have successfully wrapped up, at least in some regions, and now the vote counting is underway. We still have our correspondents in different parts of the region, and so far they have reported it peaceful, although there seemed to be a kind of rift between the observers and the INEC officials in terms of what is acceptable or not. So we saw some vote papers that were torn, and some that it looked as if the thumbprint was in two different parts, one lighter than the other. And, you know, there was that dispute as to whether or not that is acceptable. But that is just a little compared to what we have been talking about regarding the Anambra elections. We talk about the aspect of security, the aspect of INEC's responsibility, and the level of readiness, especially compared to the grander scheme of things, talking about the 2027 elections. And so it's been a very insightful conversation so far, but I've not been alone. Of course, I have my co-anchor with me.
Blessings, hi. It's great to, of course, still be here, giving you live coverage of the ongoing Anambra State governorship election. Well, vote counting has started already in many parts of the state. We did, at some point, bring you live coverage from that North local government area. You can also see on your screen there some of what transpired today, people checking out their details on the boards, and of course some issues that were raised, particularly by civil society groups, part of which includes delays in some areas, the issue of vote buying, and also security concerns too. But you know, on the overall, it seems the entire process, much of it seems peaceful and smooth. Even though the governor of the state, while casting his vote, did raise some concerns too in the area of vote buying, and also alleging that certain candidates might have had prepared results for swapping. But of course, these and many more are some of the issues. But right now, joining us in the studio to unpack the happenings in Anambra State as we speak is Comrade Ibrahim Oluwatobiloba, as the president of the Voice of the Masses and Support for Credible Leadership. It's great to have you, sir.
It's good to have you join us.
I'm happy to be in your studio.
We're happy to have you join us. Now, before we go to the questions, we have a footage in terms of, we're still talking about vote buying. We have another governorship candidate, the AAC governorship candidate, who once again has alleged vote buying. We have the footage. Let's take a look.
What is happening? There's no elections. There's practically transactions going on around the place. When you vote, they write your name, and then you proceed to another section where they give you money. When you look around, these are people going through physical hardship. You can almost touch it. But these women, these elders are selling their as as 3,000, 5,000. And it's well supervised. It's well supervised by people who are family agents or whatever. There's a particular woman wearing a tag. And they have sections, they have people all over in fact, it's a cooperative transaction happening here. I saw it, it's appalling. There are sections towards that end, they're sharing. Towards the other end, they're sharing. They have people, position, and at this point, I don't even think it's safe for anyone who is in a position here. It's highly been dominated by transactional quality. And this is wicked. This is unacceptable. This cannot be happening. These are people that bring children to this country, to this world, but they have already sold their rights for those children to enjoy any dividends of leadership and democracy. And the police is here. I want the police in this world to tell them that they don't know that there's transaction going on in this place. That's just
here and there, but like there are some polling units I got a report in Olumbanasa that were not where the beavers wasn't working, were not working as expected. But all said and done, I think on the average it will be said to be going on smoothly and as expected. The only concerns we've received is one or two places, particularly in Newi South local government, where we understand that massive vote buying, some even being paid one of the candidates, particularly from that local government, that he seems to be desperate to win the local government, so he's been sharing 15,000 to voters. And I said, even if they share 100,000, never mind. Let the people just vote, count the votes. Doesn't matter for us. And we're fairly convinced that on the basis of the votes, one man, one vote, that we're going to win and win landslide. No question about that. Now, as for the, you've seen the process here. It's quite seamless, but you can see still the crowd. The crowd still to vote, and it's about 1:30. So in the next 1 hour, voting is supposed to close officially. But again, the rule is that once you are in the polling unit before 2:30, you must vote. So I expect that all these people, you can still see a few, I'm sure there's still more than 100 persons yet to vote here. So I expect that they will all vote.
Okay. Your Excellency, are you happy with the number of turnouts? Considering the last election, we have less than 10% participation. Are you happy with the number of turnouts in this election?
I cannot know the number of turnouts. How can I know the number of turnouts when voting is still ongoing? There's no way you know until voting closes and votes are counted. When you see the number of voters that are credited and then those who voted and so on and so forth, before you can comment on turnout. For now, we don't know. All you hear is that, I tell you, it's going on well.
All right, Your Excellency, sir, you've made some very remarkable recommendation about the election process. My question is, how confident are you in terms of victory, and are you sure the party will sweep across the 21 local governments?
Let me tell you, let me be clear. We said this all through the campaigns. We have opponents, but we have not seen the opposition. And but even then, we have not taken the votes of the people for granted. And that's why we're literally the only party, the only candidate that crisscrossed the entire 21 local governments, the entire 326 wards, the markets, streets, roads, everywhere. Even though everybody says nobody is competing against, but we don't take any vote for granted. And yes, we are. The only thing we hear that is actually a concern, and we hope it's not going to happen, is that one party, I don't want to mention the candidate, that their only strategy is that they have written results which they want to swap during the collation process.
It feels good to be part of a process that will move this state forward. Not because I'm the one running as a candidate of APC, but because I'm an Anambra citizen with a full right to vote and voted for. So I'm happy to be here to vote. Well, you see, when you're a candidate, you want to vote, they are called this kind of celebrative treatment. But from what I've been hearing from here and there, there'll be hitches, small problem here and there. There'll be security challenges here and there. But loudly, there'll be vote buying. And then that has become the biggest menace that actually will shunt this country to a point of standstill. But it will come to a point that when people get opportunity to be in power, they don't have to do anything. Well, my observation is what I'm trying to tell you now. From one or two things, and then as one or two places my people have visited, and then here in my community, complaints here and there. Right now, there are many things that are going up, issue of vote buying. And maybe some of you would have noticed it. And it is collective treasury that is being looted. and shared back to people to get back the mandate. So it is a very bad thing. Everybody should condemn it. What should be done right is for security agents to actually live up to the challenges. And then if they do, they can curb it. And if they do, it will make a lot of difference. And then people will be able to stand up, people will be able to wake up and do the things they should do when given mandate to. And that's actually the right.
Here is calm. The process is free. I just came and voted. There's no struggle. But we're having very disturbing reports from very many locations as to the issue of vote buying. Vote buying. And it is sad. Most unfortunate too.
Okay, but looking at the INEC materials, the beavers, how will you describe it? You just cast your ballot. Did it take time?
No, for me it worked. In all honesty, what I will not do is to say what is not what it is. I came here, it didn't take much time. I was accredited, and then I was given the opportunity to vote. So, for me, it worked, I would say.
Overall, what's the assessment?
It depends on what you mean by verification. The point is that votes are being bought. And I expect you journalists to go a little deeper to investigate it. But that is the situation all over the place. And that's why I said, excuse me, that is most unfortunate.
With your experience in this vote you just cast now, what will you be a comparison with the previous ones, a previous exercise?
In terms of the voting, this is better. There's an improvement. I must be honest. Because it took less time than it used to take in the past. I didn't hear any issue of glitch for now. So the process has just started. If you look at the time, we're talking about 11:37. So we still have quite a lot of time left for voting. So as we go along, we'll keep monitoring the process and then coming at the position. I don't know about free and fair. If you monetize the process, if you weaponize poverty, and then you monetize it, what is free about it? What is fair about it?
To say that almost every candidate is alleging vote buying at this time, and then many people are asking who then is buying the votes, But it's quite an interesting one, and it's a very serious issue. Unfortunately, like the last candidate said, poverty is being monetized and weaponized, and if that goes on, and that brings us back to the issue of security, to be honest, because if there was adequate security, I don't think that people will be confident enough to buy the vote or intimidate the voters in broad daylight. But anyways,
interesting. We of course saw candidate. The first candidate was the candidate of the AAC. That's Chioma Efemeludike, who of course did allege, just like you said, vote buying. And then we saw the governor too, after casting his vote, saying that there were incidents of vote buying. It was even specific on the amount.
Swapping, I even said swapping.
15,000 naira, being shared to people to sell the votes. And he said even cases of, intended swapping of pre-prepared, election results. And then we saw that of the APC, who also alleged vote buying. And then finally, that of the Labour Party, Mr. Mohalu, also talking about vote buying. Does this, and this brings me to, of course, the guest in the studio. The first question I would ask you, all of these candidates, you are laughing at some point when you are watching it. There was something that was will I call it a recurring decimal, right? And that's the issue of vote buying. Does this put a stain already on the process?
When I was watching that report, I was just laughing. Vote buying has come to stay in Nigeria election.
But isn't that worrisome? Should that be a norm?
It shouldn't be a norm, but it has become a systematic part of our election process. I was laughing when the new confirmed INEC chairman said during his time voters will congratulate winners. I just said maybe what he meant is that by the time they finish rigging the election, the loser will not be able to comprehend, talk less of analyzing how the loser was rigged. The only option left is just to congratulate the winner. You can see what happened in Anambra. All of them are crying, vote buying, vote buying. Why they are crying is that they don't know, maybe the other candidate offered more money than they have offered. They are all involved in this vote buying.
It's a case of who are bidding.
Yes, and it will not just stop at the election center. Don't forget, we still have the collation center. Money we still see at the collation center down to when the results will be announced. But the funniest thing is that when you say poverty, the security agents themselves, they themselves have also been weaponized because they are not being paid what they are expected to be paid. So that
you're saying that the security is complicit?
They are complicit because when vote buying is taking place, you will see the security agent watching them, doing nothing.
So that means it's not a case of lack of security.
No, it's not a case of
complicity of the security.
It's complicity of everybody involved in this election. And I'm surprised that today's election is not different from the previous election. It's the same line of election that we have been having in Nigeria. Nothing has changed. So this will tell you what will happen in 2027. At least we should see a difference or a departure from what we used to see in previous election. If we are still seeing what we are seeing in previous election, then we have cause to worry. And those who are supposed to say no to all of this are the people, the masses. But the masses are poor, they've been weaponized. So they have no option except those of them who have conscience to say, no, I'm not going to sell my vote. Even if you say you are not going to sell your vote, the other person is willing and ready to sell his or her own vote. That is where we find ourselves now.
All right, let's just go, of course, to, one conversation has been around the issue of technology in all of this. Let's go to IREF portal where, of course, let's monitor live result upload here on that's INEC collationresults.org. There you have it on your screen as the results come in, total number, total submitted results. There you have it. Just updating it right now because as you click on the refresh, it keeps updating. That has been updated as I can see right now, 4003 out of 57, that's 5720. If once you refresh it, and then of course expected uploads, you have it there. In terms of percentage, the percentage has it at 67%, 67. But once you refresh it, I'm sure it keeps updating. It should have gotten to 69.98%. But as regards the 21 local government areas, once you go down, you can always check this information out if you're at home, INEC collationresults.ng. Once you just go down there, you will see where by local government areas, the 21 local government areas, you would see the polling units there, the results there that have been put up. For Anyocha, for instance, 320 polling units, uploaded results 257, and also for Onitsha North, that's local government area, still in, of course, Anambra State, 313 polling units, uploaded results 216, and what you have on your screen is one of the results there that was uploaded on the IREF portal. I mean, this conversation around the IREF has continued for quite some time. Well, as the results continue to come in, be rest assured that News Central will bring you up to speed, but that's what we understand for now. You watching at home can actually do that yourself. If you have your phone, your tab, your computer, just go to INEC electionresults.ng, INEC electionresults.ng, and then you monitor it yourself as it happens.
I mean, just like Dapo said, you can monitor the results yourself on INEC electionresults.ng, and you can see, once you refresh, you can see it as it's been uploaded. We still have another guest joining us, this time virtually, to continue the conversation. Emi Adeyeye, National PRO, African Action Congress of the AAC. Thank you so much, Emi Adeyeye, for joining us. We have been talking about a very important issues, especially regarding the Anambra elections, and one of the most pivotal, which a governorship candidate of the AAC, Choma, mentioned, was the case of vote buying. I think over 4 candidates have also mentioned the same thing. What are your thoughts on vote buying? Our guest in the studio did say that he doesn't think that it's a case of the lack of security. It thinks it's a case of complicity of the security, because it's not possible that we have security personnel around there and vote buying is still going on. So we want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I think it is quite shameful, and it is also another disgraceful outing, and that in 2025, a country such as ours cannot have a free and fair election. And you see, this is part of those issues. And when Trump called the, allegedly, I did not watch the video. When Trump said the country is actually a disgraced one, people wanted to fight themselves. But this is just what it is. And when you talk about security during elections, they don't go there to secure anything. What the security agents, what they do during the election is to secure these whole rackets when they happen. They are not there to secure lives or property. It is to secure those who are selling votes and those who are buying votes. It's just like securing the marketplace of votes exchange. That is what they do every time. And it is just, like I said, quite shameful that even at this time, we've not found a solution to this.
All right.
Excuse me. And there would be no solution just because election in Nigeria has become a commercial events that everybody looks up to. The voter is looking up to that election day, at least to have a bit of the dividends of democracy, because he knows that, I'm using the word he now being generic, he knows that he's not going to see this politician in the next 4 years. So this is that particular day where I'm going to get, at least if it's going to be 3,000 naira, if it's going to be 5,000 naira, I'd better just take this as my own dividend of democracy. While the seller, the politician, is also waiting for that day to sell. So, and security agents are coming to that same day to secure the marketplace. That is what election has become in this country, and it is quite disgraceful. Our candidate has been one of the most vocal.
Emi Adeyeye, if you can hear us, we understand that there's a bit of connectivity issues trying to, of course, link up with you. But once we have you back, we will definitely bring you on. Let's bring the conversation back to the studio. The issue of vote buying, I'm still going to stay on it, because we've had, before the Anambra elections, there have been elections to off-cycle elections that happened in Edo State. We saw what happened there. We also saw what happened in other states that, many of these off-cycles election happened. And this issue of vote buying still came up. And I just want you to, I'm going to put it to you directly. In terms of policy, in terms of action by the government and the authorities, can there be a solution to this? Can this be nipped in the bud?
There can never be any solution. But when you have people...
So are you saying that Nigerians will just have to live with it?
No, we cannot live with it, because as it is, people who are benefiting from this vote buying are the same people making policy on vote buying. So how can you get results? It is until when the people themselves take their destiny into their hand to say, no, enough of this. When they try to buy their votes and they refuse to sell their votes, because election is just transactionary in nature in Nigeria, where people come to sell their vote, and those who are standing for election are ready to offer them whatever is their price. So people must take their destiny into their hands. The government that we have cannot change the narrative as it is. In fact, in 2027, if nothing is done, if the consciousness of our people is not raised to the level where they will say no to vote buying, these people, they are ready to pay more than what they are offering now, because they have the treasury in their hand. So they can just dip their hand in the treasury and use it to buy whatever vote that they need. So,
okay, I mean, not to endorse any of the parties, either the buyers or the sellers, but what do we make of a country where seemingly many people already, like we established earlier, have lost trust for the electoral system, for the constitution. And then right now, it's literally the survival of the fittest. It's either fight or flight. So in a case where, I mean, there's a reason why they call it monetization of poverty. You know, that's because, or weaponizing poverty, it's because they know that these people have no other option. At first, the hope they had was that when they speak through their votes, it would actually count. But now it looks like, I mean, from the previous elections, it looks like the voters' card are just for decoration. So what do we make of that when they have lost all hope and the next best option is to save themselves and their families?
Well, I think we, the civil society and the right-thinking Nigeria, we need a lot of work to do. We need to conscientize our people. We need to tell them that they should stop selling their vote. The money they offer them cannot take them more than 1 day. That means even if they sell their votes, they collect money, it will only be enough for them to feed themselves at the just then they will remain hungry for the rest of the days that whoever offered them money will stay in power. So why don't they shun the money they are offering them and vote for the right candidate that will come in, formulate right policy that will take them out of this poverty. Poverty has been weaponized to the extent that people can no longer think straight. It's the absence of people to think straight that is the issue that we are having. If they can think straight, if they can analyze that, okay, why should I sell my vote? How much are they offering me? Okay, if I refuse to sell my vote and we have the correct candidate emerging, that means my future will be guaranteed. So the civil society and well-meaning Nigerian and right-thinking Nigerian need to conscientize our people to go beyond vote buying.
All right, let's go back to the portal here, INEC election results.ng. That's the IRF portal. And check the update as regards uploaded results. So we have a total number of submitted results. That's 5:01 p.m. That's 4,163 out of 5,720. Of course, as at now, the percentage uploaded is 72.78%. Just like I said earlier, you can actually monitor it yourself. You know, if you have a phone, a tab, laptop, just go to INEC election results.ng. I mean, it seems pretty seamless, being able to just monitor this process in real time. But at the end of the day, and I'm coming to you, sir, we still end up in tribunals. The candidates still end up in tribunals, contested the process. So what is missing here?
For me, fine, it's just an improvement on the part of INEC that we can monitor results. But that still does not mean that at the end of the day, the election will be free and fair. So don't forget that it's garbage in, garbage out. These results that you are seeing are being inputted by people. So if they have already falsified the result, it is the falsified result that they will input and that they will display on their website. So you know that Nigerians, we are very funny people and we are very ingenious. Now, as they are rolling out this, showing us the result on their website, they have also, I'm sure they will have also find a way to also manipulate what we are saying, because parties will still contest these results that we are seeing on INEC website, not being the true reflection of the results collated at the voting center. So don't be surprised that more issue will still be generated as a result of this result that is being uploaded.
So how can we then leverage technology to ensure that the process becomes non-contested?
The technology is not the issue. The people, we are the issue. Because when people are corrupt and they are ready to manipulate the system, so the technology is just like putting it there just for the show of it. Until when people are not willing to compromise, then the technology will play a vital role in our electoral system.
All right. I understand that we have Femi back. Femi Adeyeye. Femi, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly, I've been here.
All right, I will ask you for a moment. So I wanted to ask, your candidate, Chioma, actually did alleged vote buying. She's not the only candidate that has spoken, just like Blessings has said. Even the governor of the state, Charles Soludo, also talked about vote buying. So it appears to be a situation of the highest bidder. So I don't know, I'm just tempted to ask the AAC. Do you feel outbidded here?
No, it's we are not going to buy at all. We have no price attached to the conscience of the people. The governor who is alleging is also a potential shareholder in this whole marketplace. I listened to the man in the studio where he was talking about the complicity of security agencies. Yes, it's the truth. Security agencies coming during election is not to protect lives and property. It is to protect the marketplace where votes are being sold or where consciences are being sold. It's as simple as that. So election day in Nigeria now is a day where the seller meets the buyer and then the security agents come to secure the marketplace. It's as simple as that. So for us at the AAC, we will continue to speak against this very shameful act that shows that in 21st century, in 2025, a country such as, as Nigeria cannot conduct free and fair election. It's so disgraceful to the point that many media outfits, they have video clips of this, vote buying going on, reported. You can even, I saw one on Channels TV live, how monies were exchanging hands. Until this moment, nothing has been done. Recall that also in Ondo State, when we were contesting, one of the most viral video, I think it was published by News Central, came from one of our agents, of vote buying. We exposed vote buying in Ondo State. Till today, nobody has been prosecuted, nobody has been investigated. So, and then you expect that by 2027, something will change. Nothing will change. Any country where there is no reward, for doing bad. It is not that Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world, no. But it is the country where you have impunity sitting like a king. There must be reward for doing bad. That's the difference between countries that are described as corrupt and those that are not corrupt. There must be a reward. But when there is no reward, there is no punishment for doing evil, for doing bad, for doing things like this. Even on Twitter, I could see some people laughing. When our candidate posted a video where she talked about this, someone said, are you a learner? Derisively, like, are you a learner? Are you just coming into this game? And they laughed. It has now become a normal thing. We've normalized the abnormalities in this country to the point that it has now, you even make jest of the people who want to do the right things. And that is what I saw on Twitter, where people were calling our candidates, we are not sure you are ready. If you are ready, you to go and look for money, and then you will start buying votes. That's this, pitiable situation we find ourselves as a people. And I think we need to do more than just condemning these things on TV. We need to do more than that.
All right, Femi, thank you so much. Unfortunately, from the word on the streets, it looks like it's quite a sad reality. But then again, everything is alleged, and like you said, nobody has been brought to book for any of the actions, both the ones that have been reported and the ones that some of your agents found out. Right now, we have also joining us virtually Nicholas Egbonwonu, a legal practitioner, to join us discuss this. Nicholas, thanks for joining us. We're still talking about the whole Anambra election and the situation of many of the candidates alleging that vote buying is going on. And this brings me to, I want to take a bit of a detour right now and talk about INEC. We're talking earlier about INEC and, the new chairman coming into power. Many people, like we've established, do not trust the system anymore, as at 2021, the solution to the election rigging was go to court if you have a problem with it. And now we're here, the same body, but just a different sheriff. What is the guarantee that things will be done differently this time? We can see the numbers. We are monitoring the results as it's been uploaded. But what is the guarantee that these are the numbers that we will see at the end of the day?
Okay, good evening, and thank you for having me. It is very, very unfortunate that in 2025, we are still where we were in terms of in terms of voters' education and performance in our polls. It's highly unfortunate that in 2025, we are still having incidences of vote buying, which almost all the candidates are complaining of the vote buying, each accusing the other. So it's very unfortunate. I think the new sheriff, Professor Mosugu, who is the new INEC chairman, has a very big burden on him to discharge. As a legal practitioner of repute, the onus on him is very, very high in the sense that he understood that he knows the onus for being a professor and also a son. So I believe that the issue of voters' education, improvement in our electoral laws, to strengthen our electoral laws, we go a very long way in making sure that all these vices in our electoral system will be highly stopped. First, and you ask yourself what step we should be taking to remedy these vices. I think there's a whole lot to be done in terms of electoral education, strengthen our legal system, and to reduce the impact and dependence of the judiciary in playing vital roles in our electoral system. Because how do you guarantee a democratic principles? Democracy that is determined through court, not ballot, is a sham. So these and many more are things that we should work and strengthen our polls. Let the will of the people be determined at the polls and not through the judiciary. So these are many more that I think that should help us in strengthening our electoral system and deliver the much needed democratic principles and the dividends that we all yearn for in this our country. Thank you.
One thing you of course did say in your opening remark is that it appears the new INEC chair has a lot to do. This, of course, for many Nigerians would be some sort of test of grit. You know, even though it's not, many would also argue that it's not been part of the preparation process. He just came in as the chairman just a few weeks back. You might not really be able to say, you know what, judge his performance. But some still say, irrespective, it is a part of the process. So far, my question to you, because right now the country is looking ahead of 2027. From what we've observed from Anambra State, are there already takeaways for you?
The very first takeaway in respect of the large recorded vote buying and the low turnout is the improvement in delivery of electoral materials to the polling units right on time. From the reports on ground, it's gathered that there's almost more than 70% compliance in terms of early delivery of voters' materials. And also, the issue of beavers. We haven't had any recorded or much recorded issues of electoral beavers malfunctions. So the technical teams are always on ground to attend to any beavers technical malfunctions. So if in that part, you see that the new sheriff, the new INEC chairman, have done his own part to make sure that all the infrastructures, all the apparatus, the beavers, the materials, and everything that is needed to deliver a good, free, fair, and credible election are delivered to the people of Anambra. So he has done his own part so far. At this very moment, he has done his own part, and he promised that these Anambra elections will be a template, and he should be judged by the outcome and performance of this Anambra election. And from the available records on ground, he has actually delivered in that regard. No issues in terms of malfunction of electoral beavers, electoral material delivered on the polling unit on time. So other part of voters buying and voters turnout is not of him to make. So he has delivered on his mandate so far. So we are now watching out to the correlation, which is the elephant in the room. So until that is done, we'll be able to know how many percent we are going to grade him. But for so far, so good. He has actually delivered in his promise by making sure that beavers work functionally well and the electoral material delivered to the polling unit right on time.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now, this is just a reminder for those watching from home, you can actually monitor the votes. So far, the total submitted results are 4,452 out of 5,720. You can monitor it via INECelectionresult.ng. And the percentage so far that has been uploaded is 77.83%. So we can all see this through till the end. If you're watching from home, you can monitor the uploads as they come in. Now, let me come to my guest in the studio, Comrade Ibrahim Oluwatobiloba. As the president of the Voices of the Masses and Support for Credible Leadership, do you think that, all of the vote buying and voter apathy aside, do you think that the people of Anambra State are confident in the decision they're about to make in terms of looking at how Anambra has either evolved or not? Do you think that they have an idea who they want to rule them based on maybe track record or trajectory?
I don't think we can even toe that line, because if vote buying is the order of the day during this election, so the process has been compromised already. So meaning that the people do not care who becomes the governor or other representative. So what they are after is whoever give them money, they voted for that person. So meaning that they are also not expecting much from whoever becomes the leaders of their destiny. So talking about confidence, talking about the decision they have taken, they knew what they were doing, because if truly they wanted a leader that will come in and change their destiny, they will not be taking money to vote. Now that they have considered to take money to sell their vote, so what are they expecting after selling their vote? This also speaks volume of the outcome of the election. If there are reports of vote buying and all the candidates are complaining of vote buying of votes from by other party, meaning that they themselves do not have confidence in this election that they might win freely and fairly.
All right, Femi, if you can hear me, great. So, I mean, some candidates, or many of the candidates have complained of vote buying, including your candidate. So I'm just going to put it to you. I mean, you are the national spokesperson for your party. Is the AAC still confident in this process? Or would you say, you know what, we are not going to challenge the outcome at any point, we'll just take it and, as the will of the people?
What we have continued to do is to challenge the process even before it starts. We used to make this point very clear, but it seems as if for us at the AAC, we are way ahead of our time. Flip back to 2023 elections, our candidate, Comrade Oluwatobiloba, was one of the only persons who, made mention of the technological deficits of both IREV, BVAS, because he is a tech person, so he understood. In fact, we stress test the website, and we found out that this website on that day was going to mess up. That was for 2023. We went to there was a particular forum where that particular discussion was had. But as usual, people want to listen until these things happen, and then you start asking us again to go and fight a process that we know it has been flawed from the beginning. Another thing we do so well in this part of the world is that we only look at the outcome, we don't look at the roots of all of these problems. You cannot have a country where political parties peg their funds for as high as 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, down to 100 million naira to buy a form, EC9 form, that is actually free on INEC's website. You cannot have a country where politicians spend billions to get nominated as the candidate of their party, and you expect free and fair elections. These are not politicians anymore. These are investors. They are investing, so they must recoup their investments. So I've been with people who will tell you that if I want to win election in this country, I'm not going, all these things you guys do at the AC, you do campaign, you have manifesto, I won't do it. What I will just do is keep enough money that can buy the votes on that day, that I can outbuy my opponent. Do the calculation, do your market survey, and then go for those places, and you pay and you get what you want to get. These are investors. So let's stop just looking at the outcome. There are processes that actually give birth to those outcomes. And so for us at the AAC, we would continue to challenge this whole process, not just for reforms. We've been doing electoral reforms forever in this country. We were told, sorry, let me quickly say this. We were told in 2011 that what was going to be the game changer in our election is smart card. Or what was this thing called at that time? That, immediately we have that, everything will be fine. In 2023, we were told that, this BVAS is the game changer. But here we are today. It's still the same issue. To quickly respond to what the lawyer said, that we can score the INEC chairman very good on this. You see, election is way beyond the technology you bring into it. It has a lot of human calculations where people are not confident in that process, where there's voter apathy, where people cannot even locate the right logo, even on the ballot paper. We've had it in this country before, where people voted PCP instead of PDP. I'm talking about 2019. And because of that, the PCP candidate who never campaigned was almost, I think, third position in 2019. He never campaigned. So illiteracy, poor education, voters' education inclusive, sales of votes and all these things. These are all the things that come together to form, the indices with which you can say, okay, this election is actually free and fair. But when these things are out of place, you can't even start marking any person because there's no script.
All right, Femi, you talked about the process, and you said even at the party level, when candidates are buying forms with millions of naira, and that takes me to the AAC. In the case of AAC, how does it work? How much, for instance, do you charge for a governorship form?
At the AAC, it is actually free. You can check this. Free.
So if I want to, for instance, run for presidency, the form is free on the platform?
Definitely. Become a member first.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can send you the website.
Okay.
So for us, because we believe that governance should go back to the people, the real people, and not money bags. Because immediately you start making it transactional, this is what you get. And for us as revolutionaries, we believe that what has brought us here will not take us away from this point. We have to rethink a lot of things in this part of the world. But for us at the AAC, you must be an active member, a financial member of the party. There are obligatory dues to be paid and things like that. And you must have gone through the political education of, look at our candidates. Everything she's saying, you can see clarity in ideology. What I'm saying here is what the candidate would also say. So it's as if there's a particular DNA that's been infused into us. It is because of the ideological classes that we take at the level of the AAC. But you can't find these kind of things in PDP or APC because there's no ideology. Nothing is different about these people. So for us, it is actually free. We have obligatory dues, definitely, but it is free.
Let me speak to the legal practitioner now. Femi raised a very salient point, and that's the case of, what's the word now? Ignorance or illiteracy on the part of the people. We have just reported recently about the dispute between the INEC and the observers. Some papers were torn, but then there were some that had thumbprints on a wrong logo or party. And, one would initially assume that it's probably a rigging of the vote. But then if you look critically at it, it could also be that maybe people are unsure of what party they even want to vote for or the party name and things like that. And this can in turn disenfranchise the people themselves. So what role would you say that ignorance plays in all of this?
Thank you. The issue of continuing voters' education can never be overemphasized. In as much as we have a teeming youth population, every day, people are turning 18 years, and these people are continuing registering. So this makes it more imperative that periodically, occasionally, often, that there should be electoral education carried on down to the grassroots, not among the elite, but to the grassroots. Because if you witness, if you observe carefully the number of invalidated votes, most of these numbers are coming from the rural areas, and the INEC coverage is not reaching to that hinterland, those that need it most. So I believe that the new INEC chairman should have this one as one of his priorities, voters' education and awareness being carried out towards the rural areas, to the hinterlands. And I believe also NOA, National Orientation Agency, being an organ of government or federal government, should also help the civil society organizations, NGOs, everyone should join hands in educating our populace, our teeming youth population about voters' education. And INEC should do their own part by making sure that in each of the ballot posts that the party's logos are very, very bold, so that each voters will identify the parties he or she intends to vote. And for the disabilities, for the disabled voters, all the apparatus that will enhance visual accessibility should be provided by INEC, so that we don't have a case of that I intend to vote for A and I ended up voting for B because of I couldn't identify the logos. So all this boils down to voters' education. I wish I said earlier to retrace my points that this new INEC chairman should have this as one of his priorities, to make sure that there's an enhanced provision and allocation for voters' education to the hinterlands, not among the elites in the urban areas, so that issue of invalidated votes and disfranchisement and the voters to avoid issue of voters being disenfranchised because of voting the wrong party different from the one intended. So, which is a breach of that person's constitutional rights of exercising his civic responsibilities. And you cannot actually blame that person if the normal, the necessary apparatus for albinos, disabled, the blind are not provided to aid them in identifying the parties they truly intended to vote and vote it appropriately. So voters' education is the key. That can never be overemphasized. And I charge this new INEC chairman to look into it as one of the top priorities.
All right. I mean, still talking about voter education. Let's bring it to the studio to use Comrade Oluwatobiloba. In terms of voter education, yes, INEC has a key role in all of this. Even political parties themselves. But looking at the reality on ground, is it a situation of Nigerians being not aware, or many of them knowing but still choose to go ahead to do, for the sake of want of words, whatever it is they have in their minds?
No, although INEC has not really done enough in terms of voters' education. And on election day, people voting for wrong candidates, it's not that they actually, it was even deliberate, because one, if somebody all along does not have a particular candidate that he wants to vote for, and only waiting until the day of election for somebody who will offer him or her money. So such a person, when he collects that money, may find himself voting for the wrong candidate. So it's different from somebody who has already prepared himself all along to vote for a particular.
So it's a situation of nonchalance.
Yes, it's a situation of nonchalance on the part of the voters, and a deliberate effort of the voters not to, to familiarize themselves with the voting process. In as much as vote buying is involved, people will not care about the voting process for as long as they know that on that election day, somebody will offer them money and they will just vote. So they will not care about whatever education you are churning out to them. It's only when people are ready and willing to show vote buying, that is when they will key into voters' education. At that point, when they key into voters' education, all what we are witnessing today in Anambra election will not have occurred at all in the first place.
All right, let's go back to the results uploaded, on IRF portal. Just like we said, we'll be bringing you up to speed. As of now, that's 528, 4,734 total number of results have been submitted out of 5,720 uploaded or expected. And then that brings it to, in terms of percentage, 82.76%, uploaded as regards the Anambra elections. For those of you that might want to check this, by yourself, you can follow it on your mobile device, on your iPhones, on your phones, on your tabs, on your laptops, INEC electionresults.ng. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we continue, I want us to talk more about the lack of education for the people. But before we continue, we have the clips from another high-profile Anambrarian, as they're called, a former governor of Anambra State, and of course the former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter will be casting his vote. So let's take a look at that.
For me, yes, you're right. I'm a member of Labour Party and I support the Labour Party candidate. But quite frankly, everybody that is involved with this election is my brothers, my sisters and everything. I'm not in Ballot, I've been governor 13 years ago, so I'm not in this. I'm strictly in Champions League of Nigerian politics and contesting to be president of Nigeria. So for people who are in first division, I wait somewhere. And I'm sure they will do very well. Whoever wins, let him serve the people. Nigeria needs service now. We need to pull our people out of poverty. Our people need to know that schools are working. It's no longer grandstanding. They need to do the hospitals, which is why we're supporting the nursing schools to be able to produce the manpower that is required for every village to have at least a primary health care where people can go to.
Okay, this election is a litmus test for the new INEC chairman. In 2027, given your experience from what is happening currently in this governorship election, what hope do you have for 2027 general election?
I know the INEC chairman and tell him to look at what happened to his predecessors. All I can say to him is that the name and reputation his children will live in is a test. None of us will be in position forever. So it is important that while you're there, try and serve the people. Try and serve humanity, try and serve society.
That was the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate and the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, speaking on the need to vote freely and fairly. And he also mentioned that even though he represents and supports the Labour Party candidate, all of the candidates are his brothers and his sisters. Now, we're still talking about the elections and the aftermath of it, because the elections are done, the vote counting is on, and by the way, you can monitor it from the comfort of your home. Just go on inecelectionresults.ng and you see the results being uploaded live. As of now, about 82.76% of the submissions have been made, and we're expecting a little more. Out of 5,720, we have 4,838 already. Now, talking about all of the issues at hand and looking at what has played out today, Emi Adeyeye, do you think that this gives a sort of hope to the people and to the governance and democracy in Nigeria in anticipation for the 2027 presidential elections?
We certainly don't want us to deceive ourselves. There is no hope with what we've just seen playing out in Anambra State. Clear vote buying, we've said that, time and time again on this show. Voter apathy, we've seen it happen. Poor voters' education, we have evidence to that. And, quite a number of issues that have continued to plague the conduct of elections in this country. So to then come back and then, just deceive ourselves to say by some kind of wish that there's some kind of hope somewhere would be self-delusion. We just keep deceiving ourselves. Like the same way we continue to deceive ourselves until, we expect maybe some kind of foreign interference one day. And that's when we wake up, just like the Trump issue now. And then we start telling ourselves the truth again. No, so I would not join in that self-delusion, journey to tell us that there's one hope anyway. What would fix this country? We keep saying it in the AAC, is a revolution at every level. Revolution in the electoral system. You can't have a free and fair election where it is the president, that determines who's going to be the referee. in a match where he's going to contest. Let's be serious. Let's be a serious, set of people. You can't have free and fair election where you have businessmen running the whole place. You can't have free and fair election where resident electoral commissioners pay huge sum of money. I'm telling you what I know, so that it can be posted to very juicy states. You can't have free and fair election in that kind of arrangement. You can't have free and fair election where even the voters don't know who they want to vote for until the election day, just like the man in the studio said. So getting to the polling booths, that is when they will be told. They themselves will start asking, who are we voting for? So when the money, because polling units are like streets, you know the next person, everybody knows one another. And then they say, who are we voting for? Oh, this is the person who has brought money. This is the person who is going to give us the highest money. And then they vote. It's as simple as that. Like I said, it is now a marketplace of conscience where the voter meets the buyer and the security agents they are the middle men. They help to secure the whole marketplace so that there will be no rancor. So you can't just sit here and start continuing to deceive ourselves that by some magic wand, there's hope somewhere until we revolutionize all the system in Nigeria. To the point that when people are when you solve the poverty problem, because you can't also blame the people who sell their votes. They know that today is the only day they would see those politicians, and after today they won't see them anymore. You understand? And so they just want to eat for today and forget what happens, after that, because normally they won't even see them again in that area. Do you get? So it is until you fix that, you fix poverty, you fix the economic collapse that this regime has brought upon Nigeria. You fix both our political, legal structure, everything. All right. It's just wishful thinking to think elections will just change overnight. No. All right. It's not going to work.
Thank you. Let's bring into the conversation Nelson Ekukumi. Nelson Ekukumi is the executive director of a Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. He joins us virtually. It's great to have you, sir, Mr. Ekukumi. Let me just ask, an open question, since you just joined in the conversation. So far, from what you've observed in Anambra State as regards this process, are you satisfied?
Yes, from the reports monitored and of the election since it commenced, when it commenced this morning, the stakeholders, by this I mean INEC, has done very well, because in most of the polling stations, INEC arrived as early as 7:30 a.m. and the voters started coming out. Knowing our client, people tend to come out only when they are sure that others have voted. Some will even be asking, if you have voted, let me know, so that when you want to leave the place, you call me and I will come, and there's nobody on queue. We've had reports that there was vote buying. Yes, that is the absence of our electoral system. It is not INEC that is buying the votes, neither is it the police, it is the politicians. And it is because they recognize the weakness of the voters. The voters themselves have made themselves willing to. Some persons will want to tell you that vote buying started just in this Anambra election. That is a blatant lie. Vote buying has been with us from time immemorial. I remember when I was growing up as a young boy, we heard that even in the First and Second Republic, they will put money in a loaf of bread. So let nobody come and sermonize us about vote buying. We should continue to engage with every stakeholder, especially the voters, to recognize that on election day, whatever you get from the polling process will not suffice from your life for 4 years. That is a duty we all owe ourselves. And you and I know very well that even in the midst of this issue of vote buying, there are some voters who will come to the polling station and nobody get go near them and ask them that come and collect this so that you can vote for my party. So when people come up and tell you the election does not portend a great future for Nigeria, I totally disagree. Because of the fact that I recognize that this is an election that involves human beings, and human feelings cannot come out. But even in the midst of that, it is for us to interrogate. And when we have seen that there's a positive, will comment so that there will be an improvement. And when we have seen that there is a setback, we also comment on it so that the people will make changes. For example, you had the AFCC going around to combat the issue of vote buying and vote selling. Security was top-notch, the environment was clement, there was peace all through the elections. So by and large, I'm satisfied with the conduct of the election, despite the few challenges or the few setbacks that people have talked about. Yes, but if you look at the overall conduct of the election, these are what people have seen as the drawback. It is negligible, and that is why in the conduct of the election, the electoral has stipulated that it must be conducted in substantial. The electoral recognizes that it cannot be conducted in total compliance. No system is foolproof.
But looking at, sorry to interrupt you. I sincerely apologize for interrupting you, but I'm still going to stay on this issue of vote buying with you. We did a playback of about, I think, 4 or 5 candidates, major candidates in this poll, including the governor of the state. And he did, or they did allege that there were incidences of vote buying. And I mean, you're giving INEC here a pass mark. So you even said, is it INEC buying the votes or selling it? Of course not. But does this not put a stain on the process itself? Would you say that this process, what we've observed so far, is credible enough to pass to the level of even a result being announced?
Well, like I said earlier on, the issue of vote buying is as old as humanity. It's not only in Nigeria that they buy votes. But what we are saying here is that the quantum of vote buying, if you juxtapose it vis-a-vis the conduct of the election, you cannot say because some persons have got votes somewhere and you have not done the statistics to know whether the number of areas where votes were bought was the determinant factor. Until you do that, I'm a social scientist. I won't run with wild allegations. I agree, yes, there were vote buying. It is natural. You see elderly men, elderly women like myself, they will come to the polling station and they will be looking right, looking left, because I've been an observer in elections in Nigeria since 1999. And you see voters, adults, male, female, come to the polling station and be looking for what? You have anyone to do an election day, and that is to cast your vote. Who are you looking for? Is your son missing or your daughter missing? No, but because you want to be induced. So if anybody has done that, too bad for him or her, and we must condemn it. But at every point in time, you must recognize that to combat vote buying is not the responsibility of INEC alone. The man buying votes is not an official of INEC. The man selling his vote, the man or woman who has left his home to come to vote and is looking for somebody to sell his vote to, is it INEC that told him that on election day he should come and sell his vote? No. So for me, as much as I agree that this vote buying is a slap on us, is a denigration of our humanity, I don't believe that it is enough to take the credibility of this election. On that I stand.
All right, thank you very much. We of course have a sound on tape. We have a report of some individuals complaining about missing result sheet in Hihiala area of Anambra State. Take a listen.
Who is in charge here? Okay, I want to climb up. Stop everything now. Wait. Stop. Stop everything. Hey, Biko, Tolu. Do you have your result sheet? Why? So they are writing the result somewhere and we are voting here. No, that is not proper. Why are the result sheets not here? What is the polling unit here? What is it? 013. People are voting and the result sheet is somewhere else and they are completing the result sheets there and computing the results. This is Ehiala. Amamo, Ward A. In Generate, the same thing is happening and she is in charge. She's the ATO. No result sheets here and people are voting. This criminality must stop. Yes. So this exercise now is nonsense. The result sheet is somewhere and they are writing the results, and you people are standing in the sun. You can here now. Result sheet on them mad now they here. What are result sheet in here? What are result sheet in here? Hold on. Tony, can you honest? Hold on.
It's not the first time I'm doing this work. Whenever we go with our result sheet.
Why is the result sheet?
When we are going, I search my phone as the rest of I did not see the result sheet. I asked the SPO, he said that he will bring it.
What is the name of the SPO?
I don't even know.
Is the SPO attached to this unit?
Yeah, he said he's coming, but we have not seen him.
He's coming.
You have it. One of the many feedbacks, as regards the ongoing governorship elections in Anambra State. Result sheet, they are not being available at the polling unit somewhere in Hiala area of the state. I would like your quick reaction, gentlemen. Let me start with you, comrade in the studio. I mean, you see things like this and then you ask yourself, what level of progress are we making in terms of the quality of elections in the country?
The clip we just saw now, I don't want to believe it's an isolated case. This is a pure complicity on the part of INEC. And I'm sure there are other complicity on the part of INEC. For me, I cannot give INEC any pass mark because we know what INEC stands for in any election. Because INEC is more or less another department of the government. So on election day, what they do is they do the bidding of the government. But in Anambra election, as you can see, if all the parties are complaining that other person is buying vote, the other one is buying vote, that has put credibility mark on this election already. And INEC is also complicit, judging from the clip we just watched in this election now.
Okay. How about you? Of course, our legal friend and joining virtually, sir. What's your take?
Yes, this is one of the reasons why we have been advocating for establishment of special electoral court, offenses court, because all these things cannot be complained. Each election we keep on complaining of one thing or the other, and it does not stop there. Because of what? You know why? Lack of accountability. Those who have been involved in such practices previously, none, I repeat, none, have been brought to book. So how do you discourage the occurrence of such in the next election? We will be here in next election complaining about the same thing without taking any steps to stop it. So I believe that at this very moment, it's very high time that the government, and having a lawyer as the chair of INEC, to push further for the establishment of this special court to try electoral offenses, so that those onlookers will see what have happened to other persons who have committed such abnormalities, and know that if I should venture into doing such, I'll be prosecuted and jailed if found guilty. But in Nigeria, impunity thrives. Nobody is accountable. INEC is not holding the staff accountable because they are the custodians of a electoral sheet. So tell me why the electoral sheet will not be at the polling unit and will be here. The electoral officers in charge of that polling unit, nothing, just mark it. Nothing will be happening to him or her. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So how do you stop it when there is no accountability? So at this moment, I charge the INEC chairman, be a lawyer, a stand for that matter, and a professor of law, to push and make sure that establish a special court to try electoral offenses. Not every day we'll be here complaining and complaining without having results. So I charge him to do that.
All right.
If this doesn't go to the rest of this country, the posterity will remember him forever.
How about you, Femi?
All right, thank you. We just watched the video, but I'm very sure Comrade Ekukumi will say that is 1 out of 1,000 cases. So for that reason, we cannot score INEC low. You see, we cannot continue to euphemize our problems, or we try to normalize it and then expect progress. They say Rome was not built in a day, but it did not also take forever to build Rome. So when we see things like this happen, we should talk about them. Our problem is that impunity has become the mainstay of everything in this country. When you do something wrong, there is no consequence. Look at what just happened right now. There will be no consequence to the SPO, no consequence to the PO, even the vote buyers and vote sellers today, no consequence. So when there is no consequence, what do you expect from such a society? People will then look at the guys doing evil and will continue to make examples of them. This same thing happened 4 years ago. The guy who was the main contractor here now has a car. He has built a house. You have to be like this person. So let's stop talking less of our problems. Let's see them the way they are. So it is from there we can then find solutions. You cannot, for example, you are blind and there's a healer in front of you, and then you say, no, I'm not so blind. I'm just partially blind. You cannot find healing. So we should stop euphemizing our problems. Impunity is the major problem in this country. When you do bad and there is no consequence for it.
All right, Comrade Ekukumi, your take on this.
Thank you very much. I want to join issue with the last speaker who, instead of addressing the question you asked him, made reference to me. I don't know whether I'm the one who saw in that video. Well, the truth of the matter is that what I've just put out in that video is an embarrassment to all of us. What it shows to you, to us, is that our people are not in sync with the conditions of the law, because ordinarily, before the commencement of the process, the presiding officer for that polling station is supposed to announce to the party agents as well as the voters, I have come with 900 ballot papers. These are the result sheets. This is the exam. Everything how the election is going to be conducted. He's supposed to make that announcement and even show them the Bivas machine as with the number on it, that the Bivas machine has not accredited anybody. It's 000. So that everybody will know that as long as the presiding officer is complying with the law, we ourselves were in tune. This shows absolute ignorance. It's a failure on the part of all of us. If voters can go to a polling station and they are already accrediting and voting, and there is no result sheet, so it means the voters are not alive to their responsibility. The question I need to ask: where are the party agents? Are you telling me that polling station are not even a single agent? If we have party agents, that means they are all complicit.
All right, Comrade Ekukumi,
to do something, but you can be answered.
I want to add a question to. You will continue. Yeah, I just want to add a question to this because I wanted to point out the fact that it feels as if that we're not holding people accountable for their actions. Yes, maybe the people should have noticed on time, but it doesn't change the fact that what happened, it happened. And just to add to this, because for want of time, if we say that INEC is, we're not saying they're not doing their best, but there's so much more to do. There's a lot more we can learn from other countries. Estonia, for example, they have a completely digital voting system, but we are still struggling with it here. There are other countries, and it goes across board. We talk about the fact that, it's not only Nigeria that is borrowing, but other African countries are doing better in repaying their debt. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, are we not being apologists in terms of allowing these people to be mediocre when they can do much more? Please continue with your answer. Just add this.
No, we are not being apologists. What we are saying here is that if, as a person, you are assigned to carry out an assignment, it belongs on you to carry out faithfully and diligently. I blame the officer there for not ensuring that he or she had the result sheet, because under law, under the Electoral Act, every document must be shown in order to guarantee transparency and accountability. And like I said earlier on, where are the party agents there? Is it that there was no party agents at all in that polling? Because the duty of the electoral officer is to avail those agents with the materials they have got. If I have got 500 ballot papers, I'm supposed to make it known to the public. Then I make an announcement. Even the voters themselves will be part of the audience listening to the announcement. How we are going to vote, where you are going to complete, the box you are supposed to put your ballot paper. So if we have seen this, it shows that all of us, the civic education, about voters' education, we have not been acting on, that we are not doing enough. Because ordinarily, if we know that the voters we are going to conduct elections for, that they are going to ask basic questions, you think twice. So if you are talking about INEC again, I tell you that INEC conducts elections if you are talking about the country, in almost 100,000 polling units. Are you telling me that the INEC EO or the resident electoral commissioner or the INEC chairman will know the character of every personnel who has been recruited?
Apologies.
Are you telling me that
because of time,
in Anambra State, the number of polling units is 5,000?
We sincerely apologize for interrupting you, comrade, but we'll need to stop here because of time. But we appreciate your input on this. And I mean, we see the passion with which you speak. And of course, we want to appreciate all of our guests. You have all been amazing gentlemen. In terms of Anambra's election and even Nigeria's election, there's so much more to be done. And every input is appreciated. Because of time, we would have to stop here. We would have loved to have a more extensive conversation. But there's so much more we have to talk about in terms of Anambra's coverage. But for this belt, we're done. And this is the perfect time, to close the curtain. So we want to say a big thank you to all our guests, both the one in the studio and all the ones who joined us virtually. Comrade Nelson Ekukumi, Executive Director, Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative, CIGR. Thank you so much for joining us. Nicholas Egbonwonu, a legal practitioner who joined us virtually. Thank you so much. We also had Emi Adeyeye, National PRO, African Action Congress, the AAC. Thank you for joining us. And of course, our in-studio guest, Comrade Ibrahim Oluwatobiloba, the President of the Voice of the Masses and Support for Credible Leadership. We appreciate your time and for lending your voice to this cause. Definitely News Central will bring you more updates on the Anambra election and its aftermath, the vote counting and vote monitoring as well. Don't forget that you can monitor the updates as it's coming. As of now, we have on the portal, in case you're wondering, INECelectionresults.ng, we have 4,963, or rather 5,109 out of 5,720, and that's 89.32% uploaded already. So you can also monitor it for yourself. But for this session, this is where we call it an end, but definitely stay tuned because News Central is bringing you so much more on Anambra's election. It's been an absolute pleasure co-hosting with Dapo.
Absolutely blessing. And of course, just like you said, News Central will continue to put its eye on the ongoings in Anambra State. Stay with us and don't go nowhere. Up next is the news, right?
Yes, definitely. I'm Blessings Mosugu.
I'm Dapo Adegboye. Bye for now.